Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hour 18 of the CosmoQuest Hangoutathon 2025.
Hello.
We are joined this hour by my right-hand human, Ali Pelfrey, the producer behind the scenes. They are the reason that I sound better than I actually record.
I try. I mean, you make my job easy, right? It's like it's really fun to be able to like do audio engineering for like, a professional podcaster and voice actor. Like, you make it easy, and I appreciate that.
I do the best I can. There have been like a few recordings where it's just like my brain suddenly decides this one perfectly normal word that I normally say multiple times a day is something I am no longer capable of pronouncing.
Yeah, no, we always say that there's like one segment every script, right? There's
Oh
just
my
one
goodness.
segment that your brain is like, no, we're not going to read that today.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Now, the one thing I am going to ask you to read, because I don't have it on my screens,
Okay.
is where are we at the donations? And thank you, Broken Symmetry, for your tier 1
Yes,
paid
thank
6
you.
months in advance.
Thank you so much, Broken Symmetry.
That's amazing.
Our totals are for the most part updated on the screen right now. We did get a palindrome again on Kindful.
Yay!
We're at $4,664. And we've got $340 now on our Twitch charity. Really behind our goal there, but like still like every dollar counts, and I know a
And if
lot
we
of
get
you.
3, we'll have a palindrome.
Yes. So someone give $3. And Patreon is still sitting at 1,491. It may be higher than that. Patreon's something
It's
is
caching.
borked with their caching. So our actual total is currently a mystery. What I can tell you is that we currently are sitting at 200 paid members, and we would love to see that go all the way to 300.
Yeah.
And even if you just join at the $1 a month level, you'll get more for your money at the $5 level. But again, we have that $1 level if you just like want to give a little bit. And honestly, if we have about 417 free members right now, and if every single one of them joined at just the $1 level, we would reach our goal of hitting 2,000. Remember, 2,500 a month will enable us to do like more stuff, but 2,000 is kind of our like break even.
Yeah.
Be able to keep going as we are, and we would really like to do that. We hate cutting things. We want to be able to add things.
The newsletter is always the first thing to go. But
And how many people read our newsletter, Pamela?
about 6,000.
Yeah, 6,000 people. Imagine if all of our newsletter readers just joined at like our $1 ad-free experience level.
Yeah.
Like, wow, the things we could do. It would be amazing.
Now, this is a session where the original goal was to be talking with the folks who want to work with me on building virtual landscapes. But when I talk to them, they're not all sure they're going to be able to stay in science. They didn't want to come on and dream of doing things when they're looking for jobs as high school instructors, when they're looking for jobs as computer engineers. We're determined to stay here. And this hour, we're going to be earnest. We're going to be perhaps a little bit off the rails.
Yeah, because, it's energy drink time, everyone.
And I am here to share the silly. So during our last session, Dr. Amy took us out in Minecraft to visit Europa, which in our Minecraft build is filled with life. And I love me some cephalopod. And this is a cephalopod friend that I have recently created for a young child. I suspect the cephalopod is the same size as the child at the moment, and that is okay. And one of my friends asked if I could please make her an octopus that was furry. And this is a very soft cephalopod. Mm-hmm. It's made of blanket yarn. It is totally cuddle worthy, but it is not furry. And cephalopods do not come in furry naturally. This is not an option for sea creatures. It just creates a little bit of drag. So we're imagining a future where the cephalopods have figured out how to exist on a low gravity world where their tentacly goodness is capable of navigation across the surface of that low gravity world, and they develop fur to stay warm. This is just what we're going to dream of right now. I told you we were going off the rails.
Yes, yes.
Now, I learned something today. Amazon will vacuum pack yarn. When my friend asked me to make her a furry cephalopod, I went to all the normal places I buy yarn that are not Amazon, and none of them had purple fur yarn. Amazon did, so I was stuck. I haven't bought yarn from Amazon before, and this is horrifying, people. My yarn.
But if you're like me and really love to watch people open vacuum pack stuff, yes, I'm ready. I'm easily amused, and this is one of the things that easily amuse me.
It just like inflated.
It's like, whoop, whoop. I will say though, don't do that with a vacuum packed mattress. I turned into like a slapstick comedy doing that last time I bought a new mattress.
What happened?
Like, I don't know, you probably see people on like TikTok accidentally doing this, like cutting it open, like a queen size mattress that's been vacuum packed, and suddenly it just goes boom. Like,
oh, you didn't unroll it first.
No. It wouldn't unroll. It was like so vacuum packed. And it just, and then next thing I know, like I'm getting hit in the face by a queen size memory foam mattress.
I do not love that for you.
I'm basically like a walking real life episode of I Love Lucy. It's, I don't know why. I mean, I do know why it's the ADHD, but
Miss Callan's like, I am sorry for laughing at you for that, Allie.
Oh no, please laugh. Like, no, it's funny. I am aware. Like, I was laughing after, I recovered. But
my favorite failure at adulting was I was setting up a new ceiling fan. And so I'm standing on the bed. This was when I was living in Texas.
This story just gets more precarious.
So I'm standing on the bed. I replaced the light bulbs, and I wanted to figure out if they were working. And the fan was, of course, turned off. And it turns out I didn't actually know which pull thing was for the fan and which was for the light bulbs. Oh, so no. I'm standing there between the two blades, and I took a blade to the forehead, and it turns out they have some mighty torque on those things, and it sent me flying, and I landed butt first between the wall and the bed, stuck there, folded in half, living alone. And I'm like, I die here now. I'm a single woman who will be found folded in half beside her bed.
with a fan shaped, like fan blade shaped mark on your forehead.
And the next day I have this perfectly straight bruise across my forehead. And it's like, oh no, I have to learn how to do makeup because I can't explain
Yeah,
this.
yeah. You don't want to have to answer those questions.
Yeah.
Like,
So sometimes it is best to do the problem solving before you solve the problem and realize that, I mean, Dante saw acting without understanding consequences as the root of sin. And I think it's also the root of injury.
yes, yes. And I think you and I both have that affliction where we're like we just jump in and figure it out
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
go. It's like, oh well, I'll
here
just
now.
I'll get it. I'll get it. And then most of the time that actually works surprisingly well for us, right? And then
Yeah.
other times you're taking a
Fan
fan blade to the head or getting wiped out by a queen size mattress.
Yeah. In the name of physics.
Yeah, no, physics will take you out every time.
So we are trying to figure out where the economy is terrible.
I'm
Where
sorry, hello, energy DeHampter?
That's how I
Am I
was
saying that
it
right?
as DeHampter.
DeHampter?
So like DeHamster, but without the S.
DeHampter, okay. Asked, are we talking about experimental learning?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Perhaps unintentional experimental learning, but experimental learning, yeah.
Oh, Adventure Addict is pointing out that the Twitch description still says
Oh,
ours.
sorry. Thank you, Adventure Addict. Yeah.
I made the mistake of taking over the comfy chair.
We're just going to do hour 18?
I can figure this out.
No, wait, I got it. Sit. Oh my God. I got it.
I wasn't going to change. I was just going to look up the hour numbers. That's
Okay,
all I was
I
going to
got
do
it.
is look
Yeah,
up the hour number.
we're on hour 18.
Okay.
I have the schedule right here.
Oh,
I mean, we're still talking about the importance of experimental learning.
it's true. It's
Just
true.
a different type of experimental learning.
Yeah.
It actually, so the name of hour 16 was actually experiential learning, but it was experimental learning on here. These are two, I mean, experimental learning can be experiential, as we both just described.
It's true.
So I'm just going to do,
So
dreaming of
energy,
virtual landscapes.
yeah. So Energy to Hampter says, are you familiar with the ideas of Karl Popper regarding science? To my understanding, he believed for an idea to deserve being considered as scientific, it should be falsifiable in a possible experiment. So I didn't know that they were the person who was working on that idea. But yes, the idea that for something to be science, it has to be falsifiable is very core and has led to a lot of questions about things like, so for a long time, quantum mechanics had a lot of testable ideas, but string theory was not one of them. And so,
string theory.
yeah. Brian Greene, we love you. Your book was very well written, but it created a special hell for all of us out here doing science communications. Because string theory was not falsifiable. It was not testable. It was a set of maths that could be tweaked and poked and prodded to mean anything. And so was string theory science? And I would argue no.
No, but it did. I would say it has had some beautiful applications
Yeah.
in science fiction.
Yes.
It has like created the structure for making like really interesting like in-universe conjectures in science fiction.
Yeah.
Stressing the fiction there. And so from like a writing perspective, string theory it's like, ooh. But no. I would also argue it's not science. I have like read a few books on it and been like, you know.
Yeah. And so this is where there are so many ideas out there that are testable, and a large degree of science is the F around and find out. That
And make
is-
sure you document it.
Yeah, and report the results. And one of the great frustrations is null results are often hard to get published, but they're just as important. Bad results are often hard to get published. My dissertation, I spent 6 years of, no, sorry, dissertation was 4 years. I spent 4 years of my life demonstrating that if you did more than twice the work, you could increase the speed at which you found galaxy clusters by like 3 to 4%. I found the absolute least efficient way in terms of overall researcher time to find galaxy clusters. It was important work. Someone needed to try it, and I was the person who tried it. The idea was we live in a disk galaxy, and when we look at the sky, when we look through the disk, we see lots of things that glow in radio light that are supernova remnants, that are stars doing star things that happen to be bright in radio, T-Tauri stars, for instance. But when you're not looking through the disk of the galaxy, almost every radio source you see is a galaxy with either massive amounts of star formation or an actively feeding black hole. And it turns out that I want to say it's something like 25% of those radio sources that are a galaxy are surrounded by other galaxies in a galaxy group or a galaxy cluster. And so my idea was, if instead of looking at isolated radio sources, what if we instead look for the places on the sky where there are concentrations of radio sources? Will that increase the rate at which we find galaxy clusters, and will we find a different kind of galaxy cluster that way, either ones that have more infalling material, ones that are richer? And so I put in a huge amount of effort working on software development, going through the NVSS catalog, going through the first catalog of radio sources from the VLA, the Very Large Array in New Mexico, finding all the statistically improbable places where there were concentrations of radio sources on the sky, and then following up, taking images with the McDonald Observatory 30-inch telescope. When we found things that looked like clusters, we followed up on the 107-inch to prove it. And all this work led to an increase in the rate at which we were finding galaxy clusters of 3 to 4%. And it turned out what we were actually seeing was places in the sky where galaxy clusters were lined up with one another. So like this radio source and this radio source might be in different clusters. We were looking down the walls of large-scale structure. So it was a really cool project. Got to spend over 100 nights observing on telescopes as part of a really cool team. Did things that no one will ever talk about again. And decided to become a magazine editor for a while, because I was done for a while, and then I came back.
Yeah, sometimes you need to like take that break,
Yeah.
get some distance from things, and I also think there's something to be said there about like, since we're struggling with this issue of like scientific funding being so scarce, and like just ever increasing scarcity of funds, it means that like we don't have the room to spend time on things like that, to like go down these rabbit holes just to see where they lead, to take a chance that, you know, maybe it won't work out, maybe we won't find anything. It's like part of growing our understanding of the universe, or of anything really, is having room to fail, and having room to pursue what might be a dead end, and because we don't know, right? And I think that's why it's so important to like have more funding in science, because the more, unfortunately, because of the society we live in, the more money you have, the more time you can spend just like doing whatever you want, you know, and because of that funding scarcity, like scientific research has to be so strategic, and there's also such a temptation to kind of twist the data to fit your conclusions so you can continue to get funding instead of like having, more transparent data. And it's frustrating because I feel like if we had more funding, we would have more wonder in science.
Yeah, and it's hurting the quality of the science we can do in a lot of ways as well. One of the things that happened last time I had funding from NASA is when I switched between institutions, I had to recompete for my funding. And as part of that process, I had to prove that in the year between when I initially asked for the funding and when I was asking for the funding to be transferred to my new institution, I had to prove that no one else had started doing that research anywhere because they wouldn't fund two people to do the same experiment. Mm-hmm. And part of science is one person does it and another comes back and demonstrates whether or not it works.
It's like it has to be independently replicated to be like considered like or to be confirmed, and and I don't know, it's like also it's like if you have two people working on the same research independently of each other, you're probably going to see like slightly different conclusions to that research, and then be able like I don't know, that just kind of enriches the amount of knowledge you can pull from that research.
And so this is where we have to find a new solution. And one of the things that's happening right now is we're seeing in a lot of different areas, there's very wealthy people who are no longer paying taxes for a variety of different loopholes and reasons. And they're giving large donations to fund their pet projects, to fund the things they think are important in the world. And that can have a lot of positive things happening. And I've seen people pointing out, however, you take company, for instance, that brought in, and I'm just using numbers that I can do in my head. So say you have a company that earned $100 billion in profits, and due to a lot of write-ups, a lot of tax incentives, they ended up just not paying taxes. That's a thing that happens. And then that $100 billion company makes a $100 million donation to something, a hospital, for instance. Well, that's less than 1%. That's 0.1%. I, as someone who is doing my best over here, earning less than my dad was earning my senior year in high school, he was a computer scientist. I'm paying, depending on the year, 27 to 35% taxes. And so that $100 billion company, imagine if they had to pay the taxes we paid, that would be $30 billion getting reinvested in whatever it was needed for. There was a thing where, I forget who it was, made a big deal about how the U.S. Postal Service lost, I think it was $9 billion, and it was just like, rawr. But that works out to $30 per person in the United States. And I, for one, am happy to have 30 tax dollars of all the taxes I pay each year go to having people bring packages to my door for me. These are services. When we pay taxes, we're improving the world we live in. And we're not just improving it for ourselves, which is what happens with high incomes. We're not just improving it for the things that matter to us, which is what happens when people say we need to let people decide how to spend their money. Well, people aren't necessarily going to make the best of decisions when they're driven by emotions. With our taxes, we're creating a situation where we can lift up everyone, where we can lift up all communities equally by distributing the wealth to allow, imagine if every child growing up had the same opportunities. Here in the United States, schools are generally funded through property taxes, through lotteries, and through taxes on things like marijuana. And I am all for legalizing marijuana if it means more money for schools. And so when you fund schools off of property taxes, that means communities that have really low property values, communities that have very low land values, you're not going to have as much money per child for the schools. And that's problematic because it's the wealthy communities where the parents can afford to take the kids on vacations to other countries where they can see other cultures firsthand, where the parents have the resources to have their kids in after-school programs to learn dance, to learn foreign languages. I remember friends that were of Indian heritage who basically learned Hindi and dance as part of learning their culture. And that's not an opportunity everybody has. So we're now here as living examples of what happens when you remove tax dollars from science and science education. We used to have a lot of NASA funds. We took our first big cut in 2013, leading to the first Hangout-a-thon. That was when sequestration hit. We took a huge cut in 2018 when a phone call of JWST has cost overruns, you might get canceled, led to us actually being canceled. We're here again because the money is just not coming back. And we're trying to pick up things that are no longer funded by NASA and the National Science Foundation and say, we want to make them real. We want to make them part of what CosmoQuest does. We want to bring you science and science education and science news. I see you shaking your head.
No, I'm nodding.
I'm letting you speak your words.
No, I don't really have anything to add to that. I'm just over here like, yes. I love that we just keep on trucking here. No matter what, we're hanging on. And excuse me, my allergies are a mess.
Yeah.
Fun fact, everyone, I'm allergic to dogs. I'm also allergic to cats. I've made some life choices. So
yeah.
it just, and a lot of our ability to hang on comes down to what y'all are able to give us. And it
sucks. I hate it.
Yeah, we hate asking for money. It's just, it feels weird. I'm trying to like get over that weird feeling because it's like, just the reality is we live in a society that runs on money, and we need money to do the things we do and to be able to do them at a fair wage to everyone who gets paid.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm like, I'm not getting rich off this, but
Yeah.
I am able to like pay my bills.
Yeah.
And be fairly comfortable. I mean, I will be honest, like I am able to work this job because my wife makes a lot more money than I do and is happy to support me doing what I love, and just huge shout out to her for that. We got married probably like just a few weeks before I started working at CosmoQuest. And she has just been hugely supportive of this the entire time. And I really appreciate that, because it's a lot of us who are able to do the work we love at less money than we could maybe live on, are able to do that because we have spouses, because we have friends in the background who are kind of, like helping make up the difference.
And it's rough because, like, my poor husband, he knows I'm a good programmer. There's been a few times I'm gonna embarrass my husband, who is absolutely not watching and may still be asleep, honestly. Um, a number of years ago, we were planning to go out for dinner, and I was really hungry, and I hadn't snacked in the afternoon because I knew Red Robin was in my future. And this was back when we were doing moon mappers and Mercury mappers, and we'd hit an issue with the Firefox browser that week where it turned out an update in Firefox like changed some refresh rates and was just causing this really super weird glitch. And Scott Miller, one of our programmers, figured out what was going on, and we reached out to the Firefox Mozilla Foundation. Got in contact with them. We found a workaround. They were working on a patch, and so fast forward a few days, our code is up and working. I just want to go get dinner, and my husband has a bug, and he's like, I need to find out what's going on so I can let my team know before we go for dinner. Wander away, come back, plop down on the ottoman that's in his office behind his desk, and disrupted where I think it was Leo was the dog that was on it at the time. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And it turned out he'd hit the same Firefox bug that my team had figured out a few days earlier. And I was like, okay, so this is what's going on. Can we please go get dinner? No, now he had to like implement the fix. And so these are the kinds of things that we've dealt with over the years of like, he knows that I can do this stuff, and we're both in our own offices, in our own software worlds, working on developing code. And every time we're in one of these funding jams, he's like, you could get a job as a programmer. It would literally be 4 times the income.
But it's also like at what cost?
At what cost?
My job before this was I was a district level project manager at what was then the second largest freight forwarder in the world. Freight forwarding is kind of a niche thing in the shipping industry. I won't get into it too much, but I was responsible for implementing new business across 6 business units, including our one in Miami. So I was also doing work implementing stuff on our Latin American north and southbound trade lanes. Just doing a lot of really like a high level work in the shipping industry for really big clients. A lot of big automotive companies. Think about like all the really like high end sports car companies and stuff like that. And could I go back to doing that? Yes. Would I be making like triple, quadruple what I make now? Yes. I hated that work. I hated it so much. I was miserable. It was just a constant battle of egos with the salespeople and whatnot. And like my true love is audio and video engineering and science communication, which is I was doing a lot of that for free on the side with DragonCon, so that I could like, be able to like do what I was passionate about, but I was exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
Because I had to like fund doing what I loved with like a day job that was like 80-hour work weeks. And getting laid off during the pandemic was actually a blessing because I hated that work so much. And then like Pamela brought me on board, and here I am getting paid to do something I love and that I believe in. And it's not just me dragging my butt to the office every day for a paycheck, and so just I'm really thankful for that. And it's like sometimes you got to take the smaller paycheck for your sanity, right?
And this is one of those things that we're finally starting to have a discourse about, of like you occasionally see on the news these stories of like hero 6th grader holds lemonade stand to pay off school debt, and this child's getting raised up as a hero.
Yeah, and that baby should never have had any school lunch debt to begin with.
Yeah.
Because speaking as someone who grew up with a lot of lunch debt because I was poor, that shouldn't be happening. Kids shouldn't be having to like be like, these like plucky little entrepreneurs just to eat.
Yeah.
That's not right.
And we're now in a situation where it is so strange what we do and don't celebrate. There's this expectation that scientists, artists, school teachers, nurses, people who are inspiring us the most and helping us survive aren't making all that much money. And then we see the CEOs who can do 60 to 70% of their job with AI are making so much. And I don't know how to create a world where we're able to redistribute wealth and better equalize. That's somebody else to figure that out.
And yeah, I think especially I can only speak to creative fields here, but I know it's also similar in like a lot of like underfunded STEM fields as well. We're sold this whole narrative that you do it for the love of the thing and not for the money.
Yeah.
And that narrative was created to justify underpaying us.
Yeah.
Because it's this whole, how dare you ask for money, because money is cheapening it somehow. And it's like, no, I am working, I am providing labor. I'm sorry to get all like, lefty over here, but it's like we deserve to be compensated for our labor. And it's, I have to remind myself that because I still do have that kind of internalized attitude that it's like, oh, I shouldn't be asking for money to do this, especially since I did this work elsewhere for free for so long.
Yeah. It's so hard.
And it's really hard to stand up and be like, I deserve to get paid. I deserve to be able to go home at the end of the day and like pay my bills on what I have earned through my work. And that's why it means a lot to me, because y'all are basically signing my paychecks. And I appreciate it because y'all are the ones that like keep me being able to do this. And I can't stress enough like just how amazing it feels to like for the first time in my life have a job that I really believe in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That I'm proud of it. I love it. I love that I get to work in SciComm. It does feel kind of like I've come full circle, because I love science so much as a kid, and because our society forces you like into boxes. It's like I couldn't be a scientist and a writer and this and that, and so like being a polymath is very frustrating, as Pamela also knows. And I always like, as much as I love literature and I love writing, I missed having that connection to science. And I thought I was never going to really get it back. And then I did when Pamela brought me on board with CosmoQuest. And it's been great.
Yeah.
In like 5.5 years and still going.
And we have our own hobbies. I started this hour showing you, I think Adventure Addict has a much smaller octopus I made in the past. I owe Bored Panda a blue one that I'm not finished yet. This is for a friend's small child. We have hobbies. Mine is I crochet and knit octopi. It's what I do. It's what I do.
It's so cute. And it really is as soft as she says it is. I've gotten to pet it. It's so nice.
And so we have our hobbies. Allie,
I cross stitch.
Yeah.
I do embroidery. I need to pull out some of like my space themed patterns. I love doing cross stitch. I picked up blackwork recently, which is a lot of fun.
What is that?
It's a type of embroidery where you do all these like really complex geometric designs.
Oh, that's cool.
That are just back stitches. It's
That's
just
very
doing
cool.
back stitches to like make these like beautiful intricate designs. I'm currently working on one that's a beehive. That I'll have to post a picture of it on our Patreon quips sometime.
And I mean, we're all fully realized people here, and we celebrate every aspect of one another. That's one of the things I love about the CosmoQuest community, and we laugh at each other's stupid moments. One of my favorite genres of laughing at one another, and this is definitely laughing at one another, is the my cat brought me something alive and I imploded momentarily dealing with the live thing my cat brought me.
Yeah, my cats like to bring me mice occasionally.
Veronica has that problem with
Ariel.
Olivia.
So Veronica,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and this, like a few months ago, this led to me saying what might be the whitest white girl sentence that has ever left my mouth, which was yelling at my cat, "Don't put the mouse in my ukulele." Because he dropped them. He was like about to drop the mouse in my ukulele. Yes, I have a ukulele that I've been teaching myself how to play.
That is lovely in every way, except for the mouse almost being in the ukulele. That would have
Yeah,
been horrible.
and then he put it in bed.
Which is actually better than in ukulele.
Yeah, yeah, and then I thought it was dead, and then it wasn't, and that's when I learned that I have like a very think like 1950s housewife fear response to a mouse jumping on me. And so does my wife. So this was really funny because the mouse jumped on me. She literally climbed up my back at the same time the mouse jumped on me, and I'm like windmilling backwards, and it was just a whole thing. It's a nonstop sitcom in our house.
Lucy and Ethel. You were definitely Lucy
Yes,
and Ethel in
yes,
that moment.
So much.
Oh, man.
Oh, and thank you, Veronica. I just want to read really quick what Veronica said in chat. She said, "In the last 10 years, I've learned that what is important to me is how I live my life and what I spend my time doing. I love being able to support you in doing what you love." And I appreciate that so much.
And this was that hour where we bare our souls, and I
Yep.
apparently share my octopi. And now we're going to return to our regularly programmed. I'm going to talk to you about citizen science after I take a bio break.
Also, Mythtown, I see you. Mythtown says, "Whenever Allie is silent, I just think she is thinking about Garishir." Just my own headcanon. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking about Thrawn. Because I go both ways, Star Trek and Star Wars.
You didn't bring your Thrawn figurine this year.
I didn't. I left him at home.
I was sad. You
I
had a
have
shirt yesterday.
I have a Black Series Thrawn action figure that I travel with and usually take pictures of in like airports and stuff. And whenever I'm here for Hangoutathon, he usually sits on my desk. And I forgot him this year.
So, we're going to take a break. I'm going to say what I've said several times. I think you've all heard this, but for those who watch this later on YouTube, we would love it if everyone in our audience could give $5 a month to get all of our content ad-free. You get everything, an unlimited cup of science each month.
And you get Pamela doing math, which
true.
is really fun.
So far, we have figured out how fast to rotate the moon to create 1G of artificial gravity inside of it while it spins itself apart. We've figured out that if YR4 hits the moon and creates a 1-kilometer crater as predicted, that there's a chance it could, you would be able to see it unaided eye if it's on the shadowed side of the moon. These are the things we're working on figuring out and sharing. If you have more to give, if you're someone that goes to the grocery store and just doesn't look at the prices on the shelf, if you're someone that when you need a new suit can just buy a new suit, if you could give more to carry us for the people who can't, if we all lean in, we'll get through. And we just want to do science for you. We hate this. We hate every moment of this weekend. I'm so glad that I had the frequent flyer miles so that I'm not doing this alone. Thank you for being here, Allie.
Thank you for paying for my flight with your frequent flyer miles so I could be here. Because flights from Philly to St. Louis are so expensive. I was looking at flights and I was just crying because I'm just I can't afford to fly out for Hangoutathon. And I just, what happened?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I accidentally killed Zoom and Pamela is not on screen. Sorry. So on that note, we are going to switch over to rockets, and Pamela will be back later or in a few minutes for hour 19, science, small telescope required. And I don't know what she's going to be doing then, but it will be exciting. So stick around.
All
And
right.
I will see y'all in a few minutes. Bye.